Hello everybody, good afternoon and welcome to That's Football for what seems to be a bit of an odd thing to say. We've got a live football match to watch. The only one of the day, no 3 o'clocks, no 12:30. Man United Brighton went a couple of days ago, but we have got Leeds against Arsenal. Arsenal going with the opportunity of moving very far clear, 5 points clear of United they would be if they win this game tonight, which I expect them to do because the Leeds team is depleted. Absolutely depleted. But we are sponsored by Manscaped. Link in the video description. You can get 20% off with them and free worldwide shipping through the link in the video description. So big shout out to Manscaped. We're giving you a little bit more information about Manscaped in a moment. But trim the grass to make the yard look bigger. Fantastic products for the nasal hair and down there. That works. And you can get 20% off and free worldwide shipping through the link in the chat. Really good products. We'll talk about Manscaped in a minute. But Leeds are going to have to show some balls tonight. See what I did there? They're going to have to because they're very depleted, and I think that they might. I think they're going to struggle. I think they will struggle. I think it's a cracking time for Arsenal to be playing Leeds. I think Arsenal are very much in a position of what they've been like all season. They can lose a game and then go and win the next 2 or 3. And when they lose, their fans start going, Arteta out. But actually, they're very good at, when they do lose a game, bouncing back and winning a few. So the Leeds team is Meslier, Drummer, Ayling, Koch, Dallas, Klitsch, Forshaw, Rafina, Roberts, Harrison, Gelhardt. That's their team. No Dan James, who I think is possibly injured himself. He's certainly not on the bench. So they're massively depleted Leeds. They're there for the taking. And Arsenal, Ramsdale, Tomiyasu, White, Gabriel, Tierney, Saka, Partey, Xhaka, Martinelli, Odegaard, Lacazette, and a very strong bench for them as well. They've got options on the bench. But Arsenal have got no reason to feel guilty. They started the season with their own problems, and I just don't. Leeds don't have COVID problems; they've got injury problems, and I think that they will struggle tonight. I really do. So I think Leeds. Dan James is filming at the moment in Sonic the Hedgehog 2, says Alpha Gaming. Yeah, he apparently is the one in the costume, but no, they will win this. Arsenal. I can see it being 3-1. To be honest. Archie Gray's on the Leeds bench as Himanshu, 15 years of age. Yeah, I'd seen that. Lots to talk about as well. So get ready for another cracking watch-along where we'll be chatting about all sorts of things, I'm sure. Big picture going on in the world at the moment. UK, London. Serious incident because people are getting COVID. Anyway, with lots and lots. What's going to go on football? Hopefully we will be doing a watch along tomorrow for Liverpool versus Spurs because that's the game of the weekend I'm really looking forward to, so hopefully we will see that. But 5 points behind Arsenal. Manchester United would be my club if they were to lose this game. If Arsenal were to win this game. 2 games in hand, but I'd rather have the points on the board. Tottenham would be 7 points behind Arsenal after today, but I think they'd have 3 or 4 games in hand. You're always better having the points. And Arsenal, I think, you know what? Arteta yesterday was sort of on the fence about the whole should we lock down or not. Obviously, Klopp was saying I don't see the point. If I'm Arsenal, I'm like this. This is great, absolutely great, because even if they do lock down next week, Arsenal have played a couple more games than everyone else. They've put the points on the board. They're in 4th place. I'd take this every day of the week. You want to be one of those teams that's benefiting from playing games, and they're definitely doing that. So well done to them. Absolutely fantastic for Arsenal, and I hope that United can start playing some games soon because you want the points on the board. Anyway, as I said, we are sponsored by Manscaped. It's holiday season, and that means there are stockings to be stuffed. Well, today's sponsor, Manscaped, has gone global with the tools to guarantee you will score under the tree and the mistletoe. Join over 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you: 20% off and free worldwide shipping when you click the link in the description. So what's so great about the 4.0 lawnmower 4.0? Well, a new multifunctional on and off switch plus travel lock created for people who like to travel. The ability to turn the LED spotlight on and off when you need for a more precise shave. It lights it up down. It really does. It really does light it up down there. The new trimmer allows you to customise your trim length all over with additional guards as well. Additional guard lengths as well. It's sleek with a two-toned matte and gloss finish, even featuring a hot foil Manscaped black chrome logo. Very fancy. And of course, its wireless charging system means you just put it into the charging dock, and electromatic induction, which can help battery length longer. So there's no cords or anything like that. You just drop it in. Very fancy. Alongside the Lawnmower 4.0, Manscaped also has another brand new performance package. Inside this, you'll find the Lawnmower 4.0, which is that. You also get the Weed Whacker, the Crop Preserver, the Crop Reviver, very comfy box shorts and a travel bag. This is the Weed Whacker, which is basically for your nose. You get to a certain age. Very good. I love these. And you just can clear out the forest very quickly. And because Manscaped care about everyone that watches the show on That's Football, they're giving you a huge 20% off and free shipping when you click the link in the description. So what are you waiting for? Head over to Manscaped. Trim the grass to make the yard look bigger. It's true. It does. Check it out, Manscaped. And what I would say is that over the years, I have had that, and I have had one of those, and I've been using Manscaped for 18 months now. Never had any problems with battery life or anything like that, and the products are fantastic. So give it a go. Big shout out to Manscaped. Great opportunity to get something in for Christmas for somebody else. Josh says, do you use it, Mark? Yeah. I mean, why wouldn't I? I mean, that doesn't stop growing, so that's brilliant, the Weed Whacker. And down there, it just looks better. I nearly could have said bigger, but it just looks better. So there we go. Link in the video description, 20% off. We're about 5 minutes away from the start of this game. I'm going to go Arsenal to win 3-1. I think we're almost into shock territory. I can't emphasise enough to you how much I think Arsenal will win this game and how depleted Leeds are from injury. I almost feel that this is the equivalent of a Premier League game. It feels a bit like an FA Cup game. It feels like Arsenal when they were good against Leeds when they were in the Championship and they were crap. Like, this is not a Premier League game for me today. And of course it is a Premier League game, but Leeds are so depleted and Arsenal are confident. And, you know, whatever you think about Arteta, I have been saying this for a long time. Arteta has made changes, and whether you like what he's done to Aubameyang or what he's done with Leno or whatever, is you can pick that Arsenal team pretty much. You know it's going to be Ramsdale, Tomiyasu, Tierney, Gabriel and Ben White. That's his back five. The midfield is going to be Partey and Xhaka. And then he's going to play Saka and Odegaard and Lacazette, and I don't know whether is it Smith Rowe tonight, but like you can pretty much pick 9 of his team straight away. And it's that stability and consistency that will make you rise up the league. Arsenal have not been in this position for a while. It's to be applauded, and their football's better as well. So they're doing well, Arsenal. Some of their fans don't want to accept it because, you know what, some fans would rather be proved right than actually have their club do quite well. But they are doing a good job. He's doing a good job. Now, whether they'll get top 4, I'll say right now, I don't think they will get top 4. To be honest, I don't think they will get top 4. But I still think from 8th to being in a race for top 4 is better. Algeria are winning 1-0 at the moment against Tunisia. Hannibal came off in the 88th minute anyway. I think they're in extra time. So there you go. Let me just check. Oh, on another note, please share the video. Smash a like and share the video. We are on the road to 600,000 subscribers. Thanks to everybody who's been watching Goldbridge Cuts Christmas Dinner, by the way, because that's a labour of love, and I enjoyed doing that, and a lot of people have watched it, so I really appreciate that. We are currently 1,400 subscribers away from 600,000 subscribers. We're trying to get there before Christmas, so please subscribe, bottom right hand corner, and share the video. I just need to set the timer up actually, but I'm tell you what, I'm looking forward to this tonight. It's the week before Christmas. It's dark outside. It's festive feel, and we've actually got a game of football. And look, there's so many other games not being played today, but to actually have a game of football is quite nice. I almost feel like we might be on the verge of them taking football away. So, but even if they don't, it's still nice to get a game of football on, isn't it? I wish it was United. I wish we'd got to see United this weekend, but that's not to be. So, going to enjoy this and let's see what happens. The darts has been really good, the King. It is funny though, isn't it? Because I like snooker and I like darts, and you put it on the TV, and you know, even the Ashes, and you see these crowds and you see this sport, and you think, oh God, I just love it. I love it. Even now, look at Ellen Road, it's rammed, and you think, but then we're on the verge of this, you know, emergency of, no games. So I don't know. Zane Miasi's in with the super chat. I think you're going to win today, Zane. And but look, I don't know. I don't want to start talking about what's going to happen. I think it's the mainstream media and the government can twist and turn things as we I don't trust them at the moment. So I'm not saying that they're wrong, but I don't trust them. And I tweeted something out today about South Africa, who are about a month behind us. And basically, that what did it say? And it was from quotes from people in South Africa, like medical researchers in South Africa, and it was from Bloomberg as well. And basically, the key statements were: South African hospitalizations have plunged with the Omicron wave. We're seeing very small increases in the number of deaths, and more than 90% of hospital deaths were among the unvaccinated or partially vaccinated. So, if that's replicated in this country, and why wouldn't it be? I think the problem is there's so many people are getting infected so quickly and people are panicking. But it might hopefully not turn into end of days. But let's wait and see. The reality is, in the UK, they don't really want to release that information, do they? They don't do it. In 18 months, I've never seen that information. The proportion of people who've died who are unvaccinated. I'd love to have that information. Love to know what that information is. Why won't they release it? I don't know. Because it would solve a lot of people. They're trying to get people to have a booster. Well, it certainly might help. But anyway, football. We're about to start the match here. I'm going to go 3-1 Arsenal. What are you going to go with? Who's this lad then? He's not the 15-year-old, is he? Galdart. What's he all about? Is he any good? Fraser says Scotland shows that information. Let us know. Sunshine, Gary Neville. Well, Gary Neville's probably not going to be that popular now, is he? Because a week ago he was like 18th of December, let's all have a protest outside Downing Street. He's gone very quiet about it now, but some protesters have turned up and started causing damage, haven't they? So, I wonder if anyone will be reminding Gary of that. But Galdart is class, says PJ. Look, I'd love Leeds to get a result. Obviously, I'd love Leeds to get a result because Arsenal are going to go 5 points clear of Manchester United tonight. So, look, but putting some respect on Arsenal's name, they're very well organised. They've got good rhythm at the moment, and I expect them to win. So it'd be a massive shock if Leeds got something tonight. But look, Premier League football, we've got a game. Let's see what happens. Match of the day is going to be fun tonight, says Dan. Yeah. It better be a good game. They don't want a 0-0. Alpha Gaming makes a great point again. I feel sorry for travelling fans. Burnley Villa was called off about 2 hours before the match. Leeds on the attack. Corner ball. Would love to see... need a big Ramsdale performance. My fancy Premier League. I mean, thankfully I'd given up anyway before all this. But yeah, it is odd. That's definitely a corner to Leeds. I don't know why they wouldn't do that. Has it got the feel of a shock? No, not for me. But the odd thing for Leeds is that they don't actually have people out because of COVID. They've just got massive injuries, haven't they? I don't think there's anybody out for Leeds with COVID. I think it's all about injuries for them. The British Gamer says, how long until they stop the Prem? It's looking closer and closer by the minute. I personally wouldn't stop the Premier. I wouldn't stop the Premier League. I mean, I can talk to you about why I wouldn't. I've spoken about it on the United Stand, but I personally wouldn't stop the Premier League because what you've got to appreciate is you're going to stop the Premier League for what? I'm happy to have the conversation, and I've got no say in the decisions. But why are you going to stop it? I think was it Parry of the EFL said we discussed like stopping the Championship, but then we were like, what's the benefit of stopping it? Like it's not like the virus is going to go away. Like it's still going to be here. So what, we're going to shut it down for 4 or 5 months? Like how ridiculous would it be to shut something down that was shut down at the start of the wave, and lots of people have been vaccinated, and it's a weaker variant. Here we go, Lacazette. What a save by the keeper, but he's still, what a miss by Saka. Timo Saka. What a chance for Arsenal. Lacazette should have scored. Watch this back. Lovely play by Arsenal. I think it's Odegaard who slips in. Oh no, they're at it again. Wait a minute. And 2 fantastic saves by the Leeds goalkeeper here. It's so fast paced you can't even see it. Partey with a chance here. We haven't seen the first one. Odegaard pulling the strings again. Partey with the shot. Good save low down to his left from the keeper. But this is the first chance. Lacazette might have just been offside, but it's still a great save by the keeper. I don't know how Saka misses though. He's onside. He misses an open goal. So Lacazette should have made it 1-0. Good save. Saka definitely should have made it 1-0. Missed an open goal. And then Partey, good save from the keeper. Arsenal pushing for a goal here. They should be 1-0 up. It's a cracking start. Very high intensity. Back post. And Rafinha's messing around in his own box here. Gets rid of it. What a miss, says Mateus. But they're back in the box again. And it's a goal kick. So hectic bit of defending there from Leeds. But they survive. Just shows you how they look. Forest have beaten Hull 2-1. Somebody just told me in the chat. Huddersfield beat Bristol. Blackpool beat Peterborough. Blackburn smashed Birmingham 4-0. And Middlesbrough beat Bournemouth in the 5 games that were played in the Championship today. Obviously, there was a game last night, so there was 6 there. Salford won 1-0. Sunshine, Gary Neville. But a full fixture of games in the German League. Why doesn't the Premier League copy the NFL's model? If a team can't play, they lose. That incentivises every team to adopt proper protections. I agree with that, Alex. I mean, we've all got ideas on how we would do it. And I'm seeing a growing number of people saying just suspend the league. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Just suspend the league. When are you suspending it to? Oh, January the 15th. Oh, because COVID's going to disappear in mid-January, is it? Right in the middle of the winter. It's not going anywhere. So if you want to suspend it, what are we doing? Just kill the Premier League until August and hope everything's all right. Like, it's not going anywhere. So you either find a way through, but the best thing is, we've already been in this situation a year ago. Delta variant was very, very prevalent in Christmas and New Year last year. And yet we still had football going on and on and on and on. The problem, I think, has happened with the Premier League clubs is that they've been caught on the hop. Nobody expected this to happen again. And it has happened again. And I think they just need to get their protocols back in place. Give it a week or two and it will go back to normal with football. It won't go back to normal for the rest of the world, but it will. They'll get their protocols in place. Respect to Arsenal, but the banter side of me makes me think Arsenal would play through the apocalypse just to gain league places to try and look good, says Nick P. Hello, Mr. Bridge. I was wondering if you listen to grime, says Jack. I don't really listen to anything at the moment. My music consumption has deteriorated hugely over the last 5 years since I've been doing this. I'm just so busy. I just don't really get to listen to any music. We normally have Magic Christmas on. I've been listening to a lot of Christmas songs, but yeah. So there's still 0-0 after 5 minutes, but it feels like it could have been 2-1. Opinions on how Conte's doing on Arsenal, Spurs. Sorry, not Arsenal. I feel like it's a massive game tomorrow for Spurs. If it goes ahead, I mean, you never know when games are going to get called off. I feel like Chelsea Wolves. I feel like Chelsea Wolves is going to get done, and I feel like Newcastle Man City tomorrow should happen. But it almost feels like, I mean, I can't say it because it sounds irresponsible. But Newcastle almost. I think. All I can say about Newcastle is it's beneficial for them if they don't play games, isn't it? Because if they can get to January and buy players with games in hand, then they play more games with better players. I don't expect United to play Newcastle next week. Not because United won't have players. I just think Newcastle will try. I mean, Eddie Howe's been on about it already. I think Newcastle are one of the clubs that are just trying to get it suspended because it benefits them. Thanks everyone who's tuning in, by the way. Good start to this game. We've not even had 10 minutes yet, and Arsenal have been very, very much on the front foot. Leeds depleted by injuries. Very weird season for Leeds. I think I don't know whether you've noticed this yourselves, but I do think with Leeds, they really do get under people's skin. If it's almost like you either appreciate Bielsa as a good coach or he really winds you up. And there's people I know, and they absolutely love Leeds losing, so they can go, "Told you Bielsa was overrated." And it's like, I don't know where this whole he's overrated thing ever came from in the first place. Basically, you look at that Leeds team, even when everybody's fit, it's a championship side. It is a championship side, that Leeds team, and they play decent football. I don't think Bielsa has ever professed to be the best manager in the world, and I don't think Leeds profess to be the best team in the world either. They're a team that got promoted on a style of football that really gets the best out of limited players, and I still think that that's the case. I think they've probably been figured out a little bit, but I don't get the disdain and almost pleasure some people get in saying Leeds are shit. I think they are what they are. They were never going to win the league. They were never going to get top 4. I think if they got top 8, it would be a miracle. I look at Leeds and I think that team under Sam Allardyce would get relegated. Like, he has got them into that Premier League and he's kept them in the Premier League, but they are, bar 2 or 3 players, they're very much a championship side. What I'd love to see with Bielsa is I'd love to see him in charge of an Everton or someone like that, with a bit of money. But I think he does a good job. I like the way he plays football, and he's not like a Klopp or a Pep where they're going to win 90% of their games, but it's normally an entertaining game. I always look forward to watching Leeds play. Not true. The Eagles versus Redskins games was postponed yesterday, not forfeited. NFL does not have forfeit rules. I live in Philadelphia, says Chris. But you do have the rule where you've got to put a team out, Chris, haven't you? They don't piss about with that. Leeds have an average age on their bench of about 19 with a 15-year-old on their bench. They're still managing to field a team, unlike other teams, says Jack Oliver. Yeah, but as I said, Jack, Leeds' situation is injuries, isn't it? It's not COVID yet. They will have the problem with COVID. I think every team's going to have it over the next couple of weeks. Do you think he plays too open against the big teams, Mark Connor? I think he does. Like, Solskjaer, if you took Leeds out of the last couple of years, Solskjaer probably would have got the sack a little bit sooner, because every time we played Leeds, Solskjaer pretty much came out of that game like he was some sort of genius, because we did smash them a lot. But I think it's the fact that he does play open that makes them enjoyable to watch. You normally know Leeds game you're going to get goals. Here's Martinelli down the left hand side. Lovely little first touch, actually. Stands him up into the box. Can he see the layoff? Ooh, nearly. Leeds come away with it. Do you think Arsenal are going to be in the Champions League next season, says Martin? I hope not, because I think there's only one spot up for grabs. Liverpool, Chelsea and Manchester City I'm pretty much 99% sure will get top 4. So that leaves one spot. That needs to be United. As a United fan, it does need to be United. I think Arsenal will push for it. I've always said, I predicted Arsenal would finish 5th at the start of the season. And I expected Arsenal to have a good season. I think they will push for it. Also, let's not forget Arsenal are not in Europe, so they won't have to play in that. 3-3, Amir, I'm taking you out. Sorry, you're in timeout, and if you do it again, you're gone. It's spamming. And thoughts on Rooney to Everton? I think it's a risk. Rooney going to Everton. Look, with Gerrard, it's worked well. Lampard, it didn't work well. Solskjaer, it didn't work well. So has Rooney done enough at Derby to give him the Everton job? Well, it's very, very similar to Lampard, isn't it? He was actually at Derby, went to Chelsea, didn't work. So are Leeds playing well? They're competitive. They're playing competitive, but I do feel that the first goal in this game is going to be very important. Do you think the AFCON will even go ahead, Jonathan? He says do an AFCON watch-along. I'm not even sure it's going to go ahead. But good game. Good game. Good game. Good game. Open, as you'd expect. And I'd love to see Potter go to Everton, Fortune. I'd love to see Graham Potter get a job like that. But whether he would or not, I don't know. Trouble with Potter is, if you don't get the move at the right time, you could become Eddie Howe. Now, people would say, well, Eddie Howe's done quite well out of Newcastle, which he has. But there was a time when he was at Bournemouth where he was punching, and he really should have got a job then. And then, how long can you punch at a team like Brighton and Bournemouth? Eventually, you know, the fact that you're not a big team is going to come back and haunt you, and that's what happened with Eddie Howe. So, I think Potter needs to get that job in the next year or so. And to be honest with you, the job is, for Potter, it's an Everton, it's a Villa, a Newcastle, a Spurs, which, you know, some of those jobs are not available, are they? Hot chocolate's very nice, Ben. I like it. Make sure you subscribe, by the way, bottom right-hand corner. I don't know why I'm doing that. Make sure you subscribe, by the way, bottom right-hand corner. That's Deco, isn't it, in the crowd? We are closing in on 600,000. We've got to hit 599 first. Trying to get there before Christmas. Fantastic community. Everybody is welcome. Is this fire break definite, says Eamon Kelly. So the fire break would mean shutting the Premier League down for 3 weeks, which I think is the most stupid idea in the world. And if we do it, you won't see football in 3 weeks' time. You'll be lucky if you see it in 6. Because as we've seen before, once they've shut it down, it's easier to extend it. If you keep it going, I think we should just be keeping it going. I really do. Really do. If you shut it down for 3 weeks, what happens? There was a United fan today on social media, and I just couldn't even be asked to reply because I thought, what an idiot. They were like, oh, it'd be quite good if it gets shut down for 3 weeks because it'll give Ranić more time to train the team. I was like, are you thick? Are you absolutely thick? Like, what do you think a fire break is? Why would you have a fire break, which is shutting it down, and then train for 3 weeks? The whole point of a fire break is that you don't go to training. You stay away for 3 weeks. That's the whole point. Because if you're going to training, you're being tested, you could still play games. So if you fire break and players aren't training for a couple of weeks, that means they need a couple of weeks to get back. So Martin says, I disagree. Cancelling the Premier League will be the best thing at the moment. But Martin, you're not giving us any information there. Why? Give us a sentence on why, and I'll give you an answer. Go! Martinelli. He's given it as well. 1-0 to Arsenal. He played the advantage. It was the advantage for Arsenal, and Martinelli scores again for Arsenal. And I tell you what, if Zayn Miassi is around, he'll be loving this because he's been saying for ages that Martinelli's a good player. Well, it seemed like he was saying it 2 years ago. He's been like the invisible man. He disappeared for 2 years, but he's back now. He's back playing regularly. He's had his injury problems, and it probably was a free kick. It's a great tackle by Lacazette. That might have been a free kick there, but that's an advantage. And Lacazette makes a great tackle. And it's 1-0 to Arsenal. It's going to be a very difficult game for Leeds now. Those heads will drop. Three goals in his last 6 appearances. Not a surprise. Not a surprise. Alpha Gaming. I never knew you were an Arsenal fan. Well done. How can we Americans convince you to do more NFL watch-alongs? Your Super Bowl watch-along was a blast, says Alex. You know, give me more time and I'd do it, mate. If I wasn't so tired from doing everything else I do, I would probably do it. But there's only so many hours in the day. Leeds should have cleared the ball, says Matthew Henry. Yeah, trying to pass out from the back, isn't it? Trying to cross out from the back. Yeah, and that's a good point from Jack as well. Leeds don't really invest much in their squad either. It's not like he's got loads of money. There's not a lot of spending going on. But this is a quality gap. Arsenal are a better side than Leeds, and most of that. I mean, I'd fancy Arsenal to beat a full strength Leeds. I think tonight was a formality. It would have been a shock. I think Dan James is injured. Jonathan, he must be injured. I think Bielsa always looks like he's having a crap when he's squatting down. I am doing a Liverpool Spurs watch along tomorrow, Mark. If it happens, I think it will happen, hopefully. The Big Fish says Leeds are in for a pasting this evening. Algeria are 2-0 up against Tunisia, so that's over. Bit of a shame. What is it about United players in finals for their international club and another loss? No, I'm United. That was just for Zane. It's near Christmas. It truly would be the apocalypse if I was an Arsenal fan to Zelfa gaming. Well, Zane's off on a different stream at the moment, obviously. But make sure you subscribe, by the way. We've got an injury to a Leeds player here. Looks like a bit of a head injury. Yeah, bottom right-hand corner to subscribe. We are closing in on 600,000 subscribers. We're trying to hit it before Christmas. So, bottom right-hand corner to subscribe. We need to hit 599 tonight to have any chance of hitting 600k for Christmas because it's only a week away. And we might only have 2 more watch-alongs. Are any United players at the African Cup of Nations, says Andy Wright? No, not off the top of my head. It's Dallas, he's up. Well, Hannibal should be coming back for the squad now, isn't it? I don't know whether he'd be available next week. It's not the Omicron symptoms they are worried about, it's the unvaccinated, says 58 Go. It is. It is. The proportion of people that are in hospital that are unvaccinated is why the NHS is getting swamped. And the NHS gets swamped, we go into lockdown. You know, unfortunately, evidentially, there is a very clear path. You know, we go into lockdown because of the NHS getting swamped, and the NHS gets swamped by unvaccinated people. You can dress it up in a dress as much as you want to. You can't. You know, it's a bit like me saying I don't want Arsenal to win, but they will win. You know, it's. Arsenal is challenging a club that lost 7-0 to Manchester. Arsenal is going to win, says KD. And thoughts on Chelsea, Mark? Feel a bit sorry for, well, I don't feel sorry for Chelsea, but I wanted them to be in more of a title race. I just think Man City look ominous at the moment. I mean, they're definitely going to beat Newcastle tomorrow, aren't they? I wanted Chelsea to actually do better than they've done. I've said it before. United aren't going to win the league, so I want Chelsea to win the league because I don't want Liverpool or City to win it. But they're just misfiring, Chelsea. I mean, draws at home to Everton, draw at home to Manchester United, Burnley. They've dropped too many points. Paddy makes a good point. He says, I'm worried that with all these matches being postponed, it will give a huge advantage to teams like Arsenal in the long run. Points on the board, Miss Ford. You know, if you've got the points on the board, I think Sir Alex Ferguson said it, and I agree. I'd rather have the points on the board than game in hand. And look, I'd rather be Arsenal 5 points ahead of us and us having 2 games in hand. Because, yeah, well, you win the 2 games in hand, you're a point ahead of them. But are you going to win the 2 games in hand? Like, I'd rather have the points on the board. So Arsenal have got a very beneficial situation at the moment where they're playing games. Zane's in the house now with a goal, bit late. Slow Sports News. Zane Miassi, 1-0 to Arsenal. Tony Bagebridge says, what a stupid thing to say. No, I don't think it is stupid, because if your games in hand are Brighton and Brentford and one of them's away, are you guaranteeing United are going to get 6 points in their current form? There is no guarantee. Look, our last game was Norwich. I watched it. We weren't that good. So I'd rather have the points on the board. Good play by Odegaard there. Gets his shot off. Happy birthday to AXZ. I do think Liverpool have got a chance of winning the league, Gary, but I don't want it to be a 2-horse race. I've seen that before, but obviously I'd rather it be a 2-horse race over a 1-horse race. I think Man City are just looking ominous at the moment. I just don't see where their next loss is coming from. I think their hardest game in the next 6 weeks is Arsenal. And to be honest, Arsenal will lose to City and probably win 3 games either side of it and be fine. Is Lukaku a flop, says Second Son? No, I don't think he's a flop. He's just not playing a lot, is he? What a save by the keeper again. Kieran Tierney. Some of Arsenal's passing has been so probing. Leeds keeper's man of the match. I don't know why Arsenal fans hate Arteta so much, says Kushina. Good shot by Kieran Tierney, though. Bottom corner. Good save by the keeper. Is Lukaku a flop? I thought he was doing quite well and then he got the injury, didn't he? But consistency, I think, is key for Lukaku, and he's just not playing games, is he? I can guarantee you all the Arsenal fans will say that Martinelli is better than Greenwood, says Deja. Yeah, but it's the... I just don't agree with anything. Here's Rafinha. He's on his own, though. He's up against Kieran Tierney. He's opened it. Oh, he's got to score there. He's done everything right apart from the finish. Long ball forward. Stands him up. Cuts inside. Creates the space to shoot. And puts it wide. He's got to score that. He's got to score that. I don't play FIFA Ultimate Team video, so I don't know why you're asking me about it. And Man United versus Newcastle comfort by my game is gone, says Ishmasher. I can't tell you that game's going to be on. Arteta! Arteta! Here's Martinelli again in the box. But the great thing for Arteta is that he's got rid of Aubameyang. The shot straight at the keeper. He's got rid of Aubameyang. Martinelli's come in. He's got rid of Pepe. He's got Saka. He's got Lacazette. You know, it's worked out well for Arteta, and I think he's in that position now that if he... I still think Arsenal are 3 or 4 players away from being a regular Champions League contender, top 4. But he's built the foundations, hasn't he? And that's what you need to do. Jonas says lockdown to January. Are we talking about football? Well, look, I was talking about that just before Arsenal scored. We've had 6 shots on target to Leeds' none already. Talking about that before Arsenal scored, and my only issue is if you want to stop Premier League football until mid-January, what sort of plan is that? What's your logic behind it? Because I don't see a logic behind it. A year ago, we were still playing football, and there was a very, very infectious variant that was putting people in hospital. So why a year later are we not doing that? And what happened last time? We locked it down. Oh, we're locking it down for a month. It was gone for 3 months. So shut it down for 3 weeks. I don't think we'll see it again before March, to be honest with you. Because if you do come back in January, it's not like you're coming back to, no COVID. It's still going to be there. So I just think this whole let's shut it down for 3 weeks. They've done that before. March 13th, 2020. We're shutting it down for a month. Didn't come back till the end of June. So, yeah. They might have to go behind closed doors again for 3 weeks. They might have to do that. Who should be? And I think they should do that, because the biggest problem for me is that, obviously, we don't know the full stats on how damaging this is going to be to loss of life, which has always got to be the number one concern. But the biggest thing for me after that is that football is... we're going to end up in a situation where teams have got loads and loads of games to play, and 3 games a day, 3 games a week is not a good situation. It has a massive impact on the quality of football you're getting. You pick up more injuries. The quality of football's not good. Players get massively fatigued. I don't want that situation. Who should be the next Arsenal captain, says Ben Cochrane. Tierney, he says in his opinion. An unpopular United fan opinion, Arsenal midfield pair of Xhaka and Partey is better than McFred. I don't think that's unpopular, Daniel. I think we've had this conversation before, that there is... maybe Ranić can change the situation, but most of the Premier League midfield is better than that of Manchester United's McFred. Here we go. He's in again. Martinelli. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I tell you what, he's on fire. Don't know where he's been for 2 years, but he's showing real quality now. Real quality. 2-0 Arsenal. And he's ending the Aubameyang debate single-handedly. And he's well onside as well. Piers Morgan will be crying. He wants to be proved right about Aubameyang. But it's 2-0. Quality finish. Quality. I don't know who plays the pass, but he could have gone down. He could have gone down and probably got a red card, but against the Leeds defender. But quality, absolute quality by Martinelli. 2-0 to Arsenal. They can't have much to complain about. They'll be very happy that they're playing this game as well. I mean, if you're Arsenal and you go into a lockdown, at least you can go, well, we're 5 points clear of a lot of our rivals. Owners at Arsenal are clearly backing the manager with the squad and his decisions, and that's been the difference this season, says Taha. Leeds are awful, says Matthew Emerson. Well, yeah, they're going to be awful as well. They've got they've got massive injury problems, but as I said, Will says Leeds are going down. I don't think they're going down, Leeds. They've got 17 points. But 5 points above United now, says Chris. That was always the thing. I mean, Leeds are going to make a substitution here as well. We've only had half an hour. I don't know whether it's an injury substitution, but he's going to do it. Bielsa. I'm not doing Jake Paul watch-along. I would have done it for Tommy Fury, but I'm not really that interested in fake boxing. Throw into Leeds. Liam Deegan's driving home for Christmas. So there is a substitution here. I don't know whether it's down to injury. Potentially, I think it is. Yeah, it is an injury. I think he's carried on for a little bit, but off he goes. Zayn Miasi's happy. I'll read him in a minute. So Somerville comes on for Leeds and Harrison goes off. Martinelli, best Brazilian since Fat Ronaldo. He's already on the level of Mbappe. You must be worried when you come to the Emirates, says Zayn. And would you sack Bielsa? No, PB, I wouldn't. He's got an injury crisis. And who would you replace Martial with, Mark, if he's sold, says Daniel? I don't think we will. I don't think United are planning on replacing Martial at all, to be honest. But no, I mean, I'd give Martinelli credit. I think his goal the other night was very, very good against West Ham. And his second goal tonight, again, was very good. First one's a bit, straightforward. But, he's showing that quality that some Arsenal fans spoke about a couple of years ago. Unfortunately, he's missed 2 years through injury, hasn't he? But he's looking like a very good player at the moment. And I said 3-1 to Arsenal. And it's a very comfortable night for them so far. Shoots wide. Roberts for Leeds. I'll be talking about Kamara on the United stand tonight at 8 o'clock, but we're hoping that there is some truth in the matter. There's another Leeds player now. Roberts. Oh no, he's all right. He's all right. Driving home for Christmas, yeah. Yeah, I'm moving down that line. You put it in my head now, you knobhead, whoever said that. Well, there's something going on the touchline here with Leeds and Arsenal. I think somebody might have had something thrown at them, maybe. Don't know if anyone knows what's gone on here. There's been a bit of a touchline incident. It doesn't look too serious, but I don't know what's gone on there. Leeds don't look particularly happy about it. Apparently there's a bit of an argument going on. Nothing's happened anyway. The game continues. Arsenal fans very happy in the chat. You're welcome. It's That's Football. Everyone's welcome on here. Comfortable for Arsenal at the moment. United's all sat at home. Some with COVID, some with not. Watching a team move further and further away from them. It's frustrating. But there's not a lot we can do about it at the moment. I think there's... Saka. Here we go. This should be 3. Lacazette. Leeds keeper has been man of the match. It could literally be 4 or 5-0. They've dominated them. I mean, to be fair, Lacazette should score that. It's a bit of a Timo Lacazette, really. He should have scored. "35 minutes gone, 2-0. Can be a dangerous score in football. Just ask Newcastle what happened to them on my FIFA stream earlier on. What I don't get, and anyone who watches the content will know, I am opinionated, but I also am very open to other people's opinions. What I don't get about, anything in life, I just can't be arsed with the opinion that nobody's actually sat and thought through. And the opinion that nobody's sat and thought through is, just suspend the Premier League. Well, how long? How long are you doing it for? Because that's all I'm going to say to you. How long are you going to suspend it for? Because if you're going to talk nonsense to me and say, let's suspend it for a couple of weeks, you're talking out your arse. If you're going to say 3 weeks, you're talking out your arse. If you're suspending the Premier League, are you willing to suspend it for 2 months? Because I think that's what will happen the minute we stop it. And do you want to suspend the Premier League for 2 months? So all these people are going, just suspend the league, suspend the league. It's not going to happen for 1 or 2 weeks. It's impossible for it to happen to 1 or 2 weeks. Because it's not long enough. Like and when they come back, it will still be there. The only way football's going to continue is if the clubs get back to doing what they were doing a year ago, where they lock their clubs down and start putting proper protocols in place, where people are, acting responsibly in their private lives, and when they're training more carefully as well. So, it's as Jurgen Klopp said. Well, if we come back in mid-January, COVID's still going to be here. So, what? Oh, yeah, but we'll have things in place then. We'll put them in place now. Like, it's simple. Absolutely simple. And Mark Redmond says we can't keep going the way it is. But, Mark, we've only been doing this for a week. The reason there's a load of COVID cases is because this has just crept up on everybody. Like, nobody was thinking about social distancing or masks or anything like that. Nobody... So... We're paying the price now of where we were 2 weeks ago. In 2 weeks' time, you'll see a reduction in cases around the Premier League because people will be acting like they were a year ago. I don't think it's been going on too much, and I don't think you can say we can't take much more of this. I just think we're paying the price of 2 weeks ago where everyone was going around freely and then this new bloody variant came. In 2 weeks' time, it'll be completely different. But people are so impatient. It's like, oh, shut it down, shut it down. And then in 2 weeks' time, when it's shut down, you'll be like, why did we shut it down? It should be back. And then they won't bring it back because there'll still be COVID about. We need to prioritise people's mental health and the economy over having lockdown for a virus that we're all vaccinated against, as Jake said. I think that's a great point, to be fair. But, you know, Mark, I agree, but we need to find a way to reset everyone to the same number of games available. Maybe Arsenal take a 2-week break while we all level. No, Aram, I disagree with that. I don't think you can punish Arsenal at the moment. Games in hand are games in hand, aren't they? And, you know, those games will be caught up. At some point, they'll get caught up. United have got a lot of midweek fixtures free in January, so we can play then. So there is an advantage if you're playing games at the moment, and I think that's why Liverpool, Man City will be trying to get their games on. Maldini says we actually play good football under Arteta. I mean, look, what I would say is I think Arsenal played very well against West Ham and they're playing very well tonight. But as a United fan, under Ollie, we played good football against Leeds. Bielsa invites people to play good football against him. Saka, good block. United need to get their act together ASAP, get the protocols in place and start playing, or else we could say goodbye to top four, says Dan. Yeah, and look, you've got to look at it from a, you know, everybody, well, the vast majority of people have got an agenda. Like, whether it's, you know, trying to manipulate a situation that benefits you, basically. So Newcastle would love the league to get suspended for a month, because in a month's time, they'll be able to do business in January, the first couple of weeks. And when they come back, they've got new players. It's a reset. So Newcastle would love this to get suspended for a month because they will have new players legitimately and a better chance of staying up. And they won't have played 3 or 4 games before that. So their chances, Newcastle's chances of staying up go up massively if the game is suspended for a month. There will be other clubs that feel like that as well. You know, maybe Chelsea will feel like that. Leeds will feel like that because they've got an injury crisis. That's got nothing to do with COVID. That's good. That's everything to do with it being beneficial. But then other clubs like Arsenal will be like, well, we're in a really good run of form at the moment. We've got momentum. We've got no injuries. We want to keep playing. Liverpool will want to keep playing because if the AFCON goes ahead, they'll come back without players. So the Premier League don't need to be listening to clubs. The Premier League need to look at it from a governing body and go, how do we get what's the best chance of getting the Premier League finished by the end of May? And the best chance of getting the Premier League finished by the end of May is not to go into a bloody lockdown or a fire break or whatever you call it. We should trade Jones and Lingard for Rafinha, says Sean Atwood. Well, I think Leeds will do well to be 2-0 at half time here. And if anybody says to me it's not fair, grow up. Life's not fair. Lovely playing to Saka. Lacazette. They're not winning the second ball. Still Saka. Goal. That's not fair. Life's not fair. There you go. Deflects into the bottom corner. I said they'd do well to be 3-0 down. Oh, he's not giving it. Or has he given it? He has given it. No? Or is he not giving it? I don't know what's going on here. I think he's given it but told them to stop celebrating. Or is he offside? I mean, Saka does really good work. He gets a little bit lucky with the finish, but Leeds, again, there's enough opportunities to win the tackle there. Yeah, deflects in the bottom. I think he might be offside. Or is he? That's the worst checking VAR I've ever seen. Onside goal, 3-0. 3-0 at half-time. Arsenal lead. Goal. Hey Mark, who are the best CDMs that United could buy next summer? Would be nice to see them invest heavily in the position for the long term. Cheers, says Michael. Well, Chumini, Declan Rice, Kamara, there's 3 straight away that are all available. The Dutch have just announced a lockdown until January the 14th. Would you take football with no fans over suspending the league if we go the same way? Leeds are not going down. Why do people think Leeds are going down? Do you just spew shit out of your arse, or do you actually look at the league table? Burnley and Newcastle and Norwich have got 10 and 11 points. Leeds have got 16 points. They're 5 points clear of them. So I don't think they're in any danger of going down, and they've got an injury crisis. They're not having a very good season, but I don't think they're going to go down. I'm not sure about this Dutch thing. Oh, bloody hell. I mean, they've had so many shots on goal, Arsenal. I don't care if we have football. I'd rather have football closed. I'd rather have... Sorry, let me answer that question. I'd rather have football behind closed doors. We had it last year. I'd rather have it behind closed doors than shut down for 2 or 3 months. We literally cannot close down for 2 or 3 months. And that's what I think will happen. Because... if people are saying, oh, just close down for 2 or 3 weeks, COVID's still going to be here in 2 or 3 weeks. So why are we shutting down when we're, 70% of the bloody country is vaccinated? It just makes no sense to me. So if we need to go behind closed doors for a couple of months, I'd rather do that than have no football for 2 months. Because if we've got no football for 2 months, we're going to get a stupid situation going again, aren't we? Where football's being played into the summer and there's no break. Zane's happy again. He's got his sticker out saying victory. Driving home for Christmas. Yeah. Okay, so this is breaking news. Netherlands enter into tight lockdown from Sunday to control spread of Omicron. Well, that's a bigger picture. That's not football. That's society. That's not football. Let me just have a quick read of this for you. We're about to hit half time anyway. Let's talk about whether Lukaku's a flop, who the flop of the seasons are at half time. I'd like to develop that story. So here we go. Strict lockdown on Sunday. Closure of all non-essential shops, schools, bars, restaurants and other public venues. The trouble is, every country that locks down, it's because of their national health. That's what it is. If you had sufficient NHS, sufficient hospital beds, they'd never shut down. Never understood the Bielsa hype. Media treat him as the second coming of Christ. Granted, they've got big issues, but I've never really understood it. I've already spoken about it, Owen. I've never, on the other hand, I've never understood the Bielsa criticism. It's like... The people not realise that Leeds have got a massive injury problem and they've got a championship side. They're already boxing. Like, he got them promoted. He's kept them in the Premier League with a bunch of players that I actually don't think are that good. And I think that's what his coaching's all about. But on the other hand, nobody's ever said he's like the best manager in the world anyway. Mark, I know you hate talking about this, but do you know you do need to be vaccinated to go any Premier League games? A negative will do. Says Iste, and I think you mean a negative COVID test. Here in America, they force my cousin and his mates to wear masks while playing, even in the warm and hot spring summer days. If they refuse, they'll get booked or sent off. Stupid rules. Imagine playing football or anything in a bloody mask. Victor. I agree with David. He says Bielsa is turning water into wine. Championship players, that's what Leeds are. Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's half time. 3-0 to Arsenal. I mean, effectively, it's probably game over. Although, yeah, it probably is game over. But Leeds, I'm sure, would love this game to have been called off. Only because of the injury crisis that they're facing. But we're going to talk about half time. Is Lukaku a flop? Who's the biggest flop of the season? Let me just put a tweet out. Oh, I can barely type. Join in the half-time chat. There we go. So, 3-0 to Arsenal at half-time. Not a lot to say in relation to that. There's one thing I did want to say, and that is I'm always quite interested to see what the situation is. Statistically, oh, God, I'm tired. That's not a statistic. I am tired. They've had 11 shots on target, Arsenal. Leeds have had none. So the score reflects the game. Leeds are not playing particularly well. Saul Niguez is a loanee though, isn't he? I don't know whether you could say he's a flop. He's a loanee, but he's not done particularly well. But yeah, let's talk about Lukaku in a little bit more depth. Please subscribe, by the way, bottom right-hand corner. We're trying to get up to 599,000 subscribers tonight. We're currently on 58,700. So bottom right hand corner to subscribe. You're all very, very welcome on here. That's football. Everybody's welcome. Doesn't matter who you support. Aim is to get to 600,000 before Christmas. So bottom right hand corner to subscribe. Leeds have got Liverpool next. Yeah, that'll be very interesting. Hopefully we'll be doing a watch along tomorrow for Liverpool against Spurs. So is Lukaku a flop? And who is the biggest flop of the season if it is not Lukaku? Bielsa was always going to suffer this second season, injuries or no injuries. His football is too easy to beat, says Ray Carl Brown Amore. Second season syndrome's always a big thing. Sheffield United are the prime example. That first season, nobody seemed to know how to deal with Sheffield United. Second season, everybody could deal with them. So, yeah. Do I think Lukaku is a big flop this season? Yes and no. I don't think he's the flop, and I'll go through who I think are the real flops in a minute. I think Lukaku is Premier League proven. He's done it before at Everton and Manchester United, and I think he will score goals for Chelsea. I definitely think anybody who thinks Lukaku's a flop will end up looking a bit stupid when he gets back fit for Chelsea, because he will score goals for Chelsea. Unfortunately, for Chelsea fans and Lukaku, it's been a little bit stop-start. Up until the injury, I thought he was easing his way in. Since the injury, obviously, you're not playing games, and since he's come back, I just don't think he's quite fit. So, I don't think Lukaku is a flop yet. I think it's too early. Especially when you consider that, you know, Pepe's been at Arsenal for what? How many years has Pepe been at Arsenal? Is it 2 seasons? Is it a season and a half? Is it 2.5 seasons? I don't know. So, no, I don't think Lukaku is a flop. I think he could become a flop. He's got to, you know, if he's in this position at the start of next season, then that's a lot of money for a player that's not delivered. But I expect with Lukaku that he will deliver once he's over his injury problems and back fit and playing. So Pepe's been at Arsenal for 3 seasons, so that's what a flop is really. £70 million for a player that sits on your bench after 2.5 years, that is a determined flop, yeah. Ronaldo is a superstar and flop in the same article. Signed mainstream media, says Anthony Johnson. Yeah, so look, any other contenders? Well, Saul Niguez at Chelsea has not worked out well, but I don't know whether... Well, yeah. You've got to say that so far that Saul Niguez is a flop. Is he a surprising flop? Not really. I think there was an element of risk. Chelsea have done quite a clever deal with Saul Niguez because they can send him back in the summer, and I'm pretty sure he will send him back in the summer. So, but there was a warning sign with Saul Niguez. I wanted him to come to Manchester United based on how he was playing 3 years ago. His last year at Atletico Madrid was not very good. You have to ask the question why Atletico Madrid would be so willing to let a player go that, 2 or 3 years ago would have been worth 80, 90 million, and they're letting him go on loan. The reality is there's an issue with Saul Niguez, and Chelsea fans have seen that. It's an absolute joke how Salah didn't make the World 11, says Angus. I can't not agree with you on that one, mates. Can't not agree with you on that one. Do you want to chuck any other players? Jadon Sancho's not a flop. Jadon Sancho's not a flop. Jadon Sancho, is Jack Grealish a flop? So, Jadon Sancho's not a flop. What happened with Jadon Sancho is you can contrast it with Grealish. Grealish signs for Manchester City for £100 million. He plays in the Community Shield and plays most of their first 10 games because Pep Guardiola knows he's spent £100 million on a player and you can't afford to put him on the bench and not use him because the media and social media fans will be going flop, flop, flop. So Pep wants to get him involved, and he did get him involved, and it still took him time to adjust, and he still is adjusting now. So Grealish is not a flop. Sancho is not a flop because a manager doesn't know how to integrate him. Jadon Sancho has started playing games over the last month for United and has got better and better. Jadon Sancho over the last month has been a lot like Grealish at Man City. Yeah, there's been off moments, but there's been good moments as well because he's adjusting to the team and the league. The problem with I nearly called him Flop Show. The problem with Sancho is that Ollie just wasn't picking him. And as soon as Ollie's gone, he started to get picked and he's doing well. So he's not a flop. Grealish is not a flop. Lukaku is not a flop. Saul Niguez is. Anybody else? What are you gonna say? Varane is a flop. Quite similar to Lukaku, really. He's had a couple of good games, but he's been injured a lot as well. So there's no way that Rafael Varane is a flop. It's just, sometimes there are mitigating circumstances, which are injury or a poor manager. And I think some players have suffered with that this season. Come the end of the season, you can flop because you're injury prone, by the way. But I think if Varane starts playing, he'll be the best centre back in the world, which I think he is one of. The Villa signings have struggled, but again, is that because of a manager, and will Gerrard get the best out of them? Bendia's not done particularly well. Damari Gray cost 175 million less than Sancho and Grealish and has more Premier League goals and assists than them combined. Both flops so far this season, but will get better, says DRC. And Spurs versus Liverpool prediction, says Angus. Who's out for Liverpool? Who's out for Liverpool? Is it Van Dijk, Fabinho and Curtis Jones? Might be a chance for Spurs to get something there. It's a difficult game for Liverpool. I would never back against Liverpool with the quality of Mane and Salah and the players that they have. But obviously Van Dijk and Fabinho are important players, and I'm looking forward to it because I haven't really seen Spurs. I don't think I've watched Spurs play under Conte yet. I don't think I've watched 90 minutes of Spurs since Conte, so I'm looking forward to that one. I think it'll be interesting. Yeah. Barcelona are beating Elche 2-0, if you're interested in that. Do I think we're going to get a lockdown in England? This is not a football lockdown. I don't think I'm being asked about that. I think they can try. They can try and lock us down, I suppose. But Mustafa, as a United fan, I'm very worried about the top four now. With Arsenal and West Ham, it'll be difficult to finish above both. I think United just need to get back and play. That's what they need to do. Van Dijk, Fabinho, Curtis Jones and maybe Henderson, but Spurs are depleted too, says Francis. I wouldn't be surprised if there is a game or two called off tomorrow morning. I mean, the worrying thing about the Premier League now is that you can think you're playing and then 2 hours before it gets called off. Burnley Villa got called off at 1 o'clock. If you were travelling down from Burnley, you were turning round on the motorway, aren't you? Sumia Deep says, Leeds are a complete mess. Feels like this football is not sustainable this season after season. Would you give up on an identity and style of play to survive? I think Leeds will survive anyway, mate. I think they've already got a cushion of 6 or 7 points on the bottom three. When they get Bamford back and Calvin Phillips and some of the other players, I think Leeds will be fine. I think the problem with Leeds is you'd expect to be more of a mid-table team, and at the moment they're probably going to be I don't think they'll be in a relegation battle, but they are down near the bottom, and I don't think that will be, that's the problem with them. Almada's a flop. If you know, you know. Almeida, and he did all right in the Championship, but he's not done good for me this season. Racial abuse at the Arsenal substitution. That's why the game was stopped, says Jackie. That's unfortunate. Unfortunate and unacceptable. And a shame. Do you think Naby Keita's a flop at Liverpool, says David? I don't watch Liverpool enough to know, but I certainly expected him to be better. Sancho scored 2 goals in 19 games, apparently not a flop, and you and United fans didn't give Havertz or Werner the same treatment. Bunch of hypocrites, says Bartek. I've never called Havertz a flop. Don't know what you're on about. Hopefully Ralph can take advantage of this break to conduct virtual tactic sessions so the players can get used to his style. I don't agree with that, Dan. I don't agree that virtual coaching is a good idea. Only 10 players trained for Spurs yesterday, says NSI Bande. How can Spurs... this is what I don't understand. How can Spurs still have a COVID outbreak 3 weeks after their fucking first one? Like, what are these Premier League football clubs actually doing with their squads? Is it an unvaccinated problem? Are you just unable to control your players? How can they still have people catching COVID when they were having games cancelled 2 weeks ago because of it? Like, get a fucking grip of your squad. I don't understand what's going on with some of these clubs when a year ago they could keep them under lock and key effectively quite well. Scott says we're going to get a lockdown. It's already been leaked. Yeah, I think that's the one after Christmas Day, isn't it? Which I won't be adhering to, by the way. And Mark, your favourite... And what I mean by I won't be adhering to it, I am not going to be told you're not allowed to mix with people indoors. I am not going to be told that you've got to stay in within a mile of your house and all that bullshit again. Not doing it. Not doing it. And I'm not telling people not to do it. You can make your own choice. I'm not doing it. My mental health and that of my family is more important than staying inside because certain people are filling up the NHS and, jabbed twice, not doing it. If I get this variant and it kills me, then it kills me. But at the end of the day, the chances of that happening are massively minimal to where they were a year ago because I've had a fucking vaccine twice and I'm not doing it. I'm not staying in-house, not seeing friends and family again. No. For many reasons. For many reasons. This government, last year when we did it, was having a fucking party. Not doing it. There is no way I'm doing it. So... if people want to do it, that's up to them. And, it's not even about anti-vax, is it? Because anti-vaxxers aren't fucking staying in either. So, there we go. Could Goldbridge put in a transfer request? FIFA, says Connor Wilson. Imagine if he did. Imagine that. You should try doing watch-alongs for other leagues as well. Sevilla versus Atleti tonight and Napoli versus Milan tomorrow. Keep up the good work. That's a good point, Sumya Deep, actually. We can do watch-alongs for the European leagues because they're not locking down at the moment, are we? It'd be like the Bundesliga all over again. Remember when the Bundesliga came back and everyone got into the Bundesliga because they came back first? As Daniel says, why abide to rules our own government don't abide to? Well, I might be completely wrong, but I really think in 2 or 3 weeks we'll be looking back on now and going, we overreacted. But I really hope I'm right about that. But, I do watch a lot of stuff. I do read a lot of stuff. And you've got to be very careful because, mainstream media, government isn't always giving you all the facts. So I try and focus on medical experts. And they are a little bit split at the moment. But if you look at the projections, worst case scenario, best case scenario, they're like that. Like worst case scenario is it's end of days. Best case scenario, it's not even as bad as last year. So, you know, we'll have to wait and see what happens with it. But I'm not locking down because it might be worst case scenario. Where do you stand on the vaccine? Look, where I stand on the vaccine is, and it doesn't really matter. You know, as I said, it's just an opinion. My advice would be get the booster, get the vaccine, because it's proven that you will have less chance of dying and less chance of spreading it. Well, maybe not that one actually, to be fair, but you know, you've got a less chance of, especially look, if you're over 50, I would say please get the vaccine, because I've had, you know, I know people who died who weren't vaccinated because it came out. They died before a vaccine was there, and they died because they had, you know, one of them was in their late 60s. So, you know, if they'd have had that vaccine, would they have died? Probably not. So, for that reason, I would advise people to do it. But it's up to you if you want to do it. Paul says, well said, Mark. Why should those of us who have adhered to the rules, got jabbed, suffer because non-vaccinated fools are flooding the NHS? Says Paul. Well, I don't know the facts on that, Paul, to be honest. So I can't. I'd like to comment on it, and I wouldn't be scared to comment on it. But as I said before, there was a quote from South Africa that 90% of the people who are dying are unvaccinated. There's a lot of unvaccinated people in South Africa anyway. So I wouldn't like to comment on the UK. But I would like to know from the Premier League, when Jurgen Klopp comes out and says Van Dijk, Curtis Jones and Fabinho have got COVID, at my club, Manchester United, we don't know who's got COVID, we don't know how many people have got COVID, and we don't know how many people are being forced to isolate because they're unvaccinated. Now, I don't want names, but I think every fan has a right to know why their team is not playing football. Why can it not be released that United have got 6 people out with COVID and 4 people out because they've got to isolate unvaccinated? We don't need to know the names. At least we know there's 10 people out. We don't know. We don't know what's going on. And I think the Premier League should be publishing that information, because I just hate it in the modern day when people are treated like mushrooms, you know, fed on shit and kept in the dark. Kyle says apparently only 60% of players have had the jabs. Is that part of the issue? Well, we don't know, Kyle. We suspect it's part of the problem. And I think it, again, look, taking it away from football for a very quick second, because the second half has kicked off here and Arsenal are on the attack. Let me just see what happens with Martinelli, who's on a hat-trick. Wins a corner. I would like to know in the UK, because that's where I live, I would like to know in the UK, we get told how many people are in hospital all the time. How many of those people are unvaccinated? And we get told how many people are dying. How many people are unvaccinated? Because, and the reason I say that is that if we go into a lockdown next week, where we're not allowed to see friends and family and they want us to do that, but then the statistics are that 75% of people in hospital are unvaccinated and 75% of people who are dying are unvaccinated. What you're basically saying is, if you've had the vaccine, we want you to go into lockdown because people who are unvaccinated are swamping the NHS and putting us into a lockdown. Well, people deserve to have that knowledge. What you do with that knowledge is up to you, but we deserve as a society to know why we're being told to go into a lockdown. But they won't release that information. I don't know why people won't. I don't know why we can't be told about that. And then you make your own choice. But, you know, like Dane says, most people in hospital are unvaccinated. I don't know whether that's true or not. But if it is true, it's appalling to put us into lockdown. Sorry, Mark, I've decided I'm not taking the booster. I'm fit, 26, and took the jab twice, but I'm not taking another as freedom was promised after 2, says Karumu. But at least you've had, mate, you will still have protection off that second one anyway. Alex says if the vaccination works so well, we wouldn't even be talking about another lockdown. But, mate, you're talking out your arse. You're talking out your arse, because there's a large percentage of people in the UK are not vaccinated. So if everybody had been vaccinated, you'd be right. If like 95% of the country was vaccinated and we were still going into a lockdown, you'd be absolutely right. But unfortunately, you can't be right, because we know that we're nowhere near that. But you know what conspiracy theories feed off? Lack of information. There is a lack of information when the Premier League says a game is being cancelled. How many people have got COVID? How many people are having to isolate because they're unvaccinated? Give us that information. When we're being told about we're going into a lockdown, like if I was Dutch and you're Chris, in Holland, they're going into a national lockdown on Sunday night. 5 days before Christmas, they're going into a national lockdown. If I was Dutch, I would want to know the facts. How many people are in hospital? How many people are dying? And what percentage is unvaccinated? Because if you're putting me into a national lockdown because unvaccinated people are swamping our NHS, well, I'm vaccinated. I'm not going into that lockdown. You see, people will go, oh, Goldbridge is anti-vax. You're not listening to what I'm saying. I'm not going into a lockdown because I've been vaccinated. If the people who are in hospital dying are predominantly unvaccinated, well, I'm not at risk. And people will go, oh, you're being anti-vax. No, that's not what I'm saying at all. If you don't want to have the jab, don't have the jab. What I'm saying is I want to know, for my own good and my own family's good, how many people in hospital are unvaccinated and how many people dying are unvaccinated. Because if it's 75%, I don't need to be on lockdown because I'm vaccinated. I don't need to do it. You know what I mean? That's my point. It's not, oh, get the jab. I would advise you to get the jab anyway. But if you don't want to get it, don't get it. But I'm not going into lockdown because the NHS is swamped with unvaccinated people because I'm vaccinated. So I'm not at risk, am I? Now, in 2 weeks' time, it might be rest in peace, Mark, he's died of COVID. Like, I could still, the chances of it are slim, but it could still happen. But I will take that risk. Anyway, we need to get back on the game. 3-0. Bit of afters there by Xhaka, but nothing's going to get given for that. It wasn't anything particularly bad. 50 minutes gone. 3-0 to Arsenal. They're on easy street. Well, Rafinha's down injured. I don't think the referee's looking at anything that Xhaka's done there. I think he just sort of trod on his foot. Yeah, nothing's going on there. I've got people in the chat now saying you'll wake up one day. You'll wake up and listen one day, mate. You're not even listening to what I'm saying. What am I going to wake up to then? Because I'm an anti-vaxxer? Whatever. Kiss my arse. Talking out your arse. You're not listening to what I'm saying. I'm being completely selfish and I'm talking about my well-being. And what I'm saying is I'm not going into lockdown and not seeing friends and family who I know are vaccinated when I'm vaccinated. If 75% of the people dying and in hospital are unvaccinated, it's not, you're not thinking, are you? I don't need to go into lockdown because I'm vaccinated and the risk to me is minimal compared to people who are unvaccinated. So I'm not going to go into lockdown. No yellow card for Xhaka there. But you know what? The unfortunate thing is, doesn't matter what you are, doesn't matter who you are, doesn't matter what the issue is. Unfortunately, this is prime example of how you can suppress the masses by not giving them information. They're very happy to put out how many infections there are. They're very happy to put out how many deaths there's been, but they're not very happy to tell you what's going on. Now, Arsenal are now saying there should be a red here. What's going on here? Might be a yellow, could be a red. He's going to give a yellow, I think, for a foul on Tomiyasu. Yellow card. I'm not going into lockdown. I've had 2 jabs, says Scott Keller. Let's have a look at this one. Ooh, tell you what, it's tasty. It's more tastier than Xhaka's. I don't think it's a red. Definitely a yellow. Although, to be fair, Xhaka's is just the same. It's no worse, says Man. He's right. So Gelhardt gets a yellow card. Xhaka didn't get one, which is a bit inconsistency. Got to put a tweet out. The tweet basically covers the point. Another Pratt ref books someone he let someone off for a minute ago. Lack of consistency. It was the same in the Arsenal-West Ham game, wasn't it? Kufel got that yellow card for the arm, and then a minute later he doesn't give Gabriel one. You know what Leeds need to do? Win the second half. Have a good night. Wear a mask. See Dr. Peter McCullough's podcast with Joe Rogan. Changed my opinion on many things about the pandemic. I won't say much. Make your own opinions, though, says Barath. I might give that a watch. One of my favourite people to listen to is... I always get his first name wrong. He's on YouTube. Dr. John. It's John. I always call him Robert. Dr. John Campbell. Lovely ball. Keepers out. Gets away with it. Dr. John Campbell on YouTube. He does a video every day. And I've been watching him since... Funny enough, true story. I remember nearly 2 years ago, January. So 2 years ago in late January, you know Drawty, who does the graphics on United Stand. He's a bit of a... he's not a conspiracy theorist, but he's switched on to things, and he kept telling me about this COVID thing in China that was gonna end the world, and I was like, "You're talking out your arse, mate. We've had this sort of thing before." And then it started to get a little bit more in January, didn't it? And considering we didn't go in lockdown until March, and I started watching this Dr. John Campbell on YouTube, who's he's like he's a nurse and stuff like that, but he's in his 60s. And I remember I started watching it then, and I've kept watching it for ages and ages and ages. And he's very good. He's probably like the equivalent of me. No, that's not much of an endorsement, but you know, like mainstream media, and then you've got United Stand, and what we do on the United Stand is we take all the stories from mainstream media and sort of give an opinion on it. So he does that, but obviously with a medical background, and he's quite good at... He'll grab information from South Africa, from America, and compare it. He's quite good. How many years until COVID-19 is eradicated, Mark, says the Football 554? I don't know. I mean, I find it, on a footballing sense, I can't believe we're back where we were at the start of the pandemic now. You know, where people are seriously talking about... I remember saying in the summer when fans came back into the ground, whatever happens now, at least we'll never not have to have football again. Because I thought maybe we might have to go back to no fans in the ground for a bit, but I never thought we'd be in a position where we've got no football again. And I can't believe that we're in a very real position where football could get suspended for 2 or 3 months again. I just find it crazy. So if it happens again, it can happen 3 times, it can happen 4 times. And I think that's this... Mental health's always the thing for me. Like, this is causing people lots of mental trauma. So, yeah. Josh says he watches him too. He's excellent. He is a nurse, but he's very good at... I don't think he's an active nurse. I think he was he was a nurse, but he's a lecturer, isn't he, or something like that. Very good. I really like it. Does it from his bedroom, I think, as well. What do I think of the game? I think it's over. I think it's still a very good game. There's a lot of action, but I think it's over. Dr. John Campbell gets loads of views as well. He's grown a lot. I said 3-1, so I don't know whether Leeds can get a goal back. And I think that's very good from Zeno as well. Listen to this. So I was watching that Dr. John Campbell today, and he said across the whole of the UK, is it 45 or 65 cases are Omicron in hospital? And yet we've had an increase in hospital cases. So we're still getting Delta in hospital. So this is turning into a chat about something that I do watch a lot of and I'm quite interested in, but I don't want to bring it into a football show. But if the vast majority of people in hospital at the moment are still Delta, what if Omicron wipes Delta out but is less serious? Then surely we'll see a reduction. Hopefully. We'll have to wait and see. All I want to say is, no matter who you are, no matter what you think, no matter whether you want to jab or not, I wish you all the best, and I hope you have a health and happy Christmas, and take care, because we've been through a lot mentally over the last 18 months, and I hate it when people fall out. I always think that you can have a different opinion and respect it. Why do you feel the need to convince people? Like, I've said what I think. You can't tell me that you're right and I'm wrong, because that's for me to find out. It's not for you to tell me. Interesting stat: NFL, NBA, NFL is 95 plus vaccinated, and cases going through the roof with the vaccinated, says MM. But that I don't understand that point. I don't understand what you're talking about. What's your angle? Vaccinated people can catch COVID. Well, we know that. So I don't. You'd need to come back to us with what your point is there, because it could be 3 or 4 things you're talking about, and on 2 of them, I think you'd be wrong. Vaccinated people can get COVID. That's why they want people to have the booster. We know that. But vaccinated people have got a far less chance of dying of it or going to hospital with it. So that's why you get the vaccine, if you want to. If anything, Boris is using Omicron to distract from his corruption and parties. Well, I always feared that, 40-year-old Virgil. So in the UK last week, it was basically sacked the Prime Minister because of all these parties last year, which were disgusting, by the way. To have parties last year when everyone else was not, my wife's gran, who's now passed away, was in a home, couldn't see her, and she had COVID last Christmas in her late 90s. In fact, she only died about 3 weeks ago, so she got over COVID, but nobody could go and see her in a care home. We couldn't see friends and family over Christmas, and yet the government are having a party. Disgusting. And then a week later, everything's about Omicron. So, of course, conspiracy theory again, people will say it's about that. I totally agree with you, Mark, but you don't want YouTubers to get involved, says Liam Deegan. And, don't worry, mate, I'm not going to start making videos telling people about vaccines and stuff like that. I'm just telling you what I'm going to do. Yeah, you know what? This is true. I couldn't believe it. I don't know what you think about this. And look, this is what I want this channel to be: is light-hearted banter, conversation, football. But it's 3-0 to Arsenal. Leeds are fighting hard, but I don't think they're going to come back into this. So, last year on Christmas Eve, obviously we're in lockdown in the UK. On Christmas Day, I think you could see one other family member or something like that, or 2 other family members. So Christmas Eve in the afternoon, my wife says to me, I've just got off the phone, and my gran they've done a COVID test on her in the care home because she's not been very well and she's got COVID. And that was the time when the Delta variant was coming out. I think she was 99 because she did make it to 100, thank God. And I was just like, this is... Well, I know it killed a couple of people I knew that were in their 60s, and I was like, wow, your immune system when you're 90 is not really great. And she got over it. She got over it. It's a funny virus. You think, well, they're fucked, and they're not, But then some people can be 42 and really fit, and it just grabs them, doesn't it? All the best, Mark. You're a legend, says Man United Hodge. Yeah, true story. And then she had her 100th in September, and she died a few weeks ago. But hundreds are not. Yeah, she died a couple of months after she was 100. But I think that was nice. Imagine the amount of people who die at 99 don't quite make it. Barcelona have bottled a 2-goal lead, by the way. Let's enjoy football while we've still got it, channel. Yeah, I'm treating every game at the moment as a bonus. And look, this game's pretty much over. Arsenal are going to win it, but I'm going to enjoy this next half an hour because I still think we'll get up tomorrow and another game will get called off. What do you think about testing, Mark? Well, I've seen a few of you talking about it. In relation to football, I think you should only be being tested if you've got symptoms. sorry, not in relation to football, in relation to general life, I think you should only test if you've got symptoms. Why go finding something that is... I think you know what? I think the world's changed. Like, I think a year ago, and I will make it about football. We've got an injury here. So a year ago, we were in lockdown. The UK hospitals were never unprecedented in January. Like, the amount of people going into hospital was ridiculous, and the NHS was on its knees, and yet football was being played 3 times a week. And the reason it was being played 3 times a week is because there was safety protocols in place. Players were training in set groups. In their private lives, they were minimising their social interactions, and football pretty much kept going, didn't it? I think Man City had a bit of an outbreak at the start of January, but most clubs played games and it was absolutely fine. And at that time, lots of testing meant you isolated cases, and then you isolated the people with it. But I think now it's almost irrelevant to be testing people who, I think if you get ill and you test and you've got COVID, you isolate. You need to do that. And then anybody who's been around that person should test to make sure that they're okay. But if you just go looking for it, you're going to find it. And you're going to find people who've got no symptoms. And then you're going to, I just think, what's the point in going finding something at the moment when not everybody's on the same wavelength, are they? Some people are like, I don't give a shit. I'm not going to get jabbed. I don't really give a shit anyway. So who are you protecting when people don't really want to protect themselves? So I just think the over-testing is not necessarily a good idea, but we'll see. Serie A Watchalong, says Emil. We'll have to wait and see. I don't know what the situation in Italy is like. Maybe they're going to go where we are. A fixture congestion because of all the post-Spain games can really cripple our Champions League hopes, says Sahaj. If we end up in a lockdown, I think it will be at least a month. They're going to have to knock the Premier League back to the end of June again. I don't want a situation like you say where we're playing Premier League games on a Tuesday and bloody Champions League on a Thursday to get it all done. Do I think the Premier League will keep going? Do you think the Premier League will keep going? Here's Martinelli. Good block. Joshua Bowerwater says, I'm off down the pub before they get closed back down. Swivel on it, Bojo. I tell you what, I don't blame you, Joshua. If it was local, I'd pop down and have a pint with you, because the pubs aren't actually that busy at the moment, because there's a lot of people, quite rightly, who are not going out because they're like, I don't want to catch it and then be locked down for Christmas. Because if you put in a positive test today, look, if I put a positive test in today, I wouldn't be going where I'm going on Christmas Day, because it's not fair on them people to pass it around. I'm socially responsible, but that's why a lot of people are staying in at the moment. I was down the pub on Thursday night and it was a lot quieter than I thought it would be. But my oldest daughter's just gone out for dinner there with her friends for a Christmas meal. Never in jeopardy that she was going to go. Go out while you can. Not showing any symptoms of anything, go out. I would implore you to go and do it as well. Dara family on Christmas Day, yeah, which we didn't do last year. Fear-mongering is definitely working, says Fran Panic to Paris. And I agree with that, because ultimately nobody can tell you anything at the moment because the evidence is not there. We don't know what's going to happen over the next 3 weeks. The lockdown talk is not taken into account. We will be World Cup year, which stops the season in November, says the rat who plays Dangan. And you have a very good point, Mark, but if you test too early, there is a high chance of a false negative. Maybe isolate for 5 days, then test, says Mr. Nobody. And did you see Matt Letizier's opinion 2 days ago on the vax and the recent footballers' deaths found on brand new YouTube? Nosy, I don't listen to Matt Letizier. I know, this is what I mean. I don't... Oh, good shot by Saka, just wide. This is what I mean. I'm not pro-vaccine or anti-vaccine, because you've got people on both sides who I just find ridiculous. And Matt Letizia, I can't remember which side he's on, but he spouted some right shit for a long time that I just don't agree with. So, make your own minds up, make your own opinion up. That's what you should do. But yeah, Letizia spoke some shit. I've seen it. Having watched Partey now, he is what you thought, says M&K Group. Talking about crap, let's just talk about football for a minute. I've heard Piers Morgan talk a lot of crap over the years, and he's been on about this Aubameyang thing. The thing about Piers is he's got this habit of getting obsessed about the wrong thing and ending up looking like an idiot. He lost his job because of it, didn't he? And he's completely misread the room on Aubameyang. And you know why he's misread the room on Aubameyang? And there are some Arsenal fans like this as well. Because they love Aubameyang, and he's probably in their WhatsApp. They're like, oh, Arteta, he's a bloody idiot. Aubameyang's a club legend, the way he's been treated. 2 games since Aubameyang's been kicked out of that team. They've probably played the best they've played in a long time. They've won 2 games as well. And Aubameyang's been booted as captain and out of the squad. And yet you got people like Piers Morgan going, the treatment of Aubameyang's terrible. Oh, yeah. If you played him in these 2 games, you might have taken 4 points or 2 points. You're going to take 6. Let the manager manage. Sometimes a manager will not like your favourite player. Put your club above your favourite player. This is the whole bloody Pogba FC thing again, isn't it? Or, Messi FC or Ronaldo FC, where people value a player more than the club they're meant to support. Let the manager manage. He's clearly got a problem with Aubameyang, and he's the manager, so it's up to him what he does. If Rangnick comes in and says, I don't like Bruno, he's out the team, I'm not going to go, wow, that's disrespectful, that is. The manager must be allowed to manage, because ultimately, if he gets it wrong, he'll lose his job. Barcelona cannot defend to save their lives, and their priority is to sign Edison Cavani on big wages. Make it make sense. Well, Barcelona constantly make bad decisions. Why should we listen to them all after what they did last year? Boris is a liar. It's impossible to trust this governance, says Tom. Do you have an opinion on Oldham Athletic and their owner struggles? I don't really know what's going on with them, Koala. I really don't. So if you want to enlighten us. Liver Aguero has got nothing to do with the vaccine. Listen to what was actually released about Aguero. He's had a heart problem for about 13 years that they've been monitoring. So there wasn't a vaccine 13 years ago. So there you go. You're another one. Thoughts on million of people living on rural areas in South Africa that don't have the virus, says Emil. I don't know. But yeah, in relation to that by Piers Morgan, I mean, again, it's somebody with a very big voice. It's a bit like Gary Neville when we had the Solskjaer problem. Someone with a big following who just completely haven't read the room. And, Piers' love for Aubameyang is clearly more than that for Arsenal, because he's made a decision moaning about an individual player that's not been good enough and trying to stir up trouble. And he's made himself look foolish. Because actually what Arteta's done by dropping Aubameyang is galvanise his squad, and Martinelli scored 3 goals in 2 games in Aubameyang's position. And instead of a 33-year-old who's on massive money, you've got someone in their early 20s who's playing for the badge. So, yeah. Aviana says, I'm a nurse in America and the vast amount of patients are not vaxxed. I had a patient die in the EICU because he wasn't vaxxed. He had a 2-year-old. Very, very sad, isn't it? Very sad. There was a guy, somebody I knew about 6 months ago, I think it was in the summer. He was 42, really fit, and decided not to get vaccinated because he was like, I'm fit and healthy, I don't need it. And he died of it. And I think when he was really ill, before he died, he actually did put a post out on Instagram saying, look, I thought I was fit and healthy and this wouldn't get me, and it did, and if I could I would have took the vaccine. But everyone's got to make their own choice. It's his choice, isn't it? As Andre says, it's his choice not to get vaxxed. You make the choice. Are Leeds going to win the second half? No, not on that shot. Alistair says, what's going to happen to football, Mark? My fear is that they're going to do this January 15th. They're going to do this, let's have a fire break till January the 15th. I think they're going to do that. I really hope the Premier League don't. I actually think the way the Premier League have behaved over the last week has been very good. Now, I know it's frustrated people how late they've been, but from what I was told is the problem the Premier League have had is clubs are just going, we want the game off. We want the game off. And then the Premier League are having to say, why do you want the game off? And then they're saying, oh, penalty, Stonewall, penalty to Leeds. Absolutely chopped down Gelhardt. Now, unless he's dived, he's absolutely chopped him down. Penalty to Leeds. I can't believe Ben White went and did that. They'll review it on VAR, but it looked like a Stonewaller. Gelhardt. Yeah, it's a penalty. 100%. I think he slips, but it's definitely a penalty. Don't know why Arsenal would say we need to review that. 100%. It's wild as well. I mean, he probably should get a yellow card for it. I mean, I love it from Ben White. He gets up and goes like that and gives a high five to Ramsdale like he tackled him. He deserves an Oscar. You can't. It's like when people score a goal when they're offside now, or they score it with their hand and they celebrate. And then, do you not realise that VAR is a thing? Like, it's a blatant penalty from Ben White. So Rafinha here, 15 minutes to go. It's not I mean, it feels like Arsenal are playing Leeds who've had a man sent off. Of course, that's not the case. They have got 11 players on the pitch. So 3-1 was my prediction. Can Rafinha score the penalty? Ramsdale's been in very good form recently. You'd half expect him to save it. Referee puts his whistle in his mouth. Rafinha, here we go. Scores. Good penalty. 3-1. Game on? Probably not, but makes it a little bit more exciting. I'll nearly give Arsenal a goal there. I need to give Leeds a goal. Rafinha. See if we can get another goal. Leeds are winning the second half here. Mark, really fun watch-along idea. Play Assassin's Creed 2, says Emil. And Rafinha is a penalty merchant, says Emil. He's very good at the penalties, to be fair. What was I going to say? Yeah, what do I think is going to happen in the football? So I just think that the Premier League, I really hope the Premier League stays strong. I think they have, controversial opinion, but I think the Premier League have actually been strong. What I've been told by a couple of journalists is that the Premier League have had problems because, and the reason the games have been cancelled later, is that they will get a call from a club 2 or 3 days before a match saying, we want to call the game off. And the Premier League will say, well, how many cases of COVID have you got? How many injuries have you got? And how many people are isolating because they're unvaccinated? And then the club will go, well, it's hard to say because, and basically they'll have enough players. And then they'll say, well, no, we're not letting you cancel the game. You've got enough people to play. And then what will happen is they'll get a few more cases and they'll have to cancel it late on. So the Premier League are trying to get games on. Here's Martinelli. Well played, good defending. So the Premier League are trying to get the games on. That's what they're trying to do. But clubs are trying to get games called off. So this Premier League meeting on Monday, I suspect there'll be a lot of clubs saying we want a fire break. But I think the clubs are naive because I think they think, yeah, we'll come back in the middle of January and we'll just finish the league. But in the middle of January, you're still going to have the same problems that you've got. And a Premier League club chairman like at Newcastle or wherever saying, yeah, we'll come back in the middle of January. If you can't control the problem now, why are you going to control it in the middle of January? Oh, yeah, well, we'll put protocols in place for the middle of January. We'll put them in now then. So I hope the Premier League is strong, but I fear that there is a want for it to be suspended. The Aubameyang versus Arteta scenario reminds me a lot of Moyes versus... I don't know who you're on about, Stephen C. That name is... you've tried to get me, but it's such a crap name that you've come up with. You know, the combination where it's one word and another and it's something weird. My next watch along is going to be Spurs against Liverpool tomorrow, which I'm very much looking forward to if it goes ahead. I think Liverpool have got a bit of a COVID outbreak, so tomorrow morning when they test, like Villa did, it could be another a late change, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Oh, the Dutch lockdown, which is nothing to do with football. It's a general Dutch lockdown. 2 guests per household will be allowed, 4 over the holidays. Still very bad, isn't it? If you do live in Holland or Dutch or Netherlands, it's not Holland. I always call you Holland. I saw I don't know whether we will have people watching from Ireland. I saw in Ireland that they were looking at bringing a lockdown in there whereby pubs had to shut at 5 o'clock. And the pubs were like, just shut us down. Like, don't shut us down at 5 o'clock. So pubs were allowed to open, but at 5 o'clock they had to close. I don't know whether that's come in yet, but it just seems stupid. Like, hi Mark, can you give us a Champions League winner prediction and a Premier League? Premier League, I'm not going to change from what I said in August. Man City. Champions League's very difficult. You can't predict Man City because they just never win it. So they are definitely one of the favourites, but I don't know that they'll win it. Pubs are closing at 8 PM now. That's still shit, isn't it? Do no fans in the stadium. It's simple and safer, says Anthony. I don't think there's any context to that, though, Anthony. I don't think fans in the stadium are a problem. What that won't lower the chances of footballers getting COVID, because I don't think COVID travels in the way that, like, 30,000 people in a stadium and you're going to catch it on the ground. I don't think that works like that, but you could do that. Abdul says, I like your haircut. Yep, fresh trim today. Check me out on @Goldbridge Mark on Instagram. I think I put it up. Nice picture of my fresh trim. Instagram. Yeah. It's a good shot, that. Oh, you can see it. No. The new Danny Dyer. I need a shave. Driving home for Christmas, yeah. Yeah, I'm moving down that line. I'm starving, actually. I don't know what I'm having for tea. I think I've got a pie or something. I think that Spurs-Liverpool game tomorrow will be interesting. As I said, it'll be the first 90 minutes I've watched Spurs under Conte, so I'll be looking forward to that. And obviously Liverpool have been in fantastic form recently. They had a little bit of a dip, didn't they, where they lost to West Ham and they drew at home to Brighton, took 1 point from 6. But either side, I think there's a lot of teams at the moment that they're not, they can have a bad game, but they're not letting it define them. And I think Arsenal have been brilliant at that this year. Think about Arsenal. They lost their first 3 and then went on a good winning run. They lost to United, they've lost to Everton, and they've surrounded that with a good winning run as well. I think the thing about Arsenal this season that's been very impressive, and it's sort of like, I think Wolves have done it as well, is that you don't let a bad run define you, and let it. It's all about, I can almost be in the training room, in the dressing room at Arsenal. I think I wouldn't be surprised if this is something Arteta has said. We can't be that club that lets a loss define us. If we lose, we pick ourselves up, and we go again. Because they lost to Everton and Manchester United one after the other, and yet they're back into the fourth again. And the reason they've done that is they've lost 6 games, Arsenal, but they've won 10. They've only drawn 2. And one of the games they drew, I don't remember who they drew their other game against, but they drew against Palace, and that was a last-minute equaliser, wasn't it? So that could have been another loss. But if they had lost that game, they'd still be in fourth. They'd have 31 points instead of 32. So they could have lost 7 and won 10. And I think that's so important to have. You can only do that if you have a mentality of, we're not going to let a loss define us. We go again in the next game and we win. And I think that there's a few clubs that have done that this season. Wolves have done it as well. They've lost 7 and won 7. And the way that will always, if you can eradicate the draws, losing's not that bad. If you can go and win the others. A lovely goal by Arsenal here. What a goal, Smith Rowe. That's game over. 4-1. I mean, we were just bigging up Arsenal there and their mentality to go on and, pick themselves up. And the goal they've scored here from Smith Rowe, again, absolutely superb. 4-1. Lovely goal. Watch it back. It's just on the break. And how many Odegaard? Just pulling the strings. Just what a signing he's looking like, being Odegaard. I mean, I think, does he get the appreciation from the media? Does he get the appreciation from Arsenal fans? I think Odegaard's been man of the match for me tonight, and I don't think many people will talk about it. I think City will win the league, Alpha. I don't think enough people are talking about that. I've been very impressed with him today. He's just been subbed off, but I think he's been man of the match for them. I think he's massively underrated, and he's looking like this player that people were talking about all those years ago when he went to Real Madrid, just running the game at number 10. Fantastic performance from him tonight. Superb. Please subscribe, by the way. We're trying to get up to, 599 on that road to 600k for Christmas. Bottom right hand corner to subscribe. I really enjoyed the chat as per usual. I am live on the United Stand in about an hour as well, so let me know. We're only 100 subscribers away from 599, so please subscribe. Bottom right hand corner. Let's see if we can get it before full time. 100 away. Everyone's welcome on this channel, of course, and hopefully tomorrow we'll be doing Liverpool against Spurs. Odegaard is clear of Bruno at the moment, AMZ, because Bruno's not playing particularly well. But I don't get involved in those childish conversations. Oh, Martinelli's better than Greenwood. What does it mean? It doesn't really mean anything. You know what it does? It displays insecurity. Because if you're really happy with your player, you don't need to shout about he's better than him, he's better than that. Just be happy with your player. But we get it in the United fan base anyway. I don't need to get it from Arsenal. We get it in the United fan base. Oh, Pogba's better than Bruno. It's like, plays for the same club. Driving home for Christmas. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. See, this is interesting, just in relation to a general lockdown. UK. Scientific advisors have warned England's hospital admissions could reach 3,000 a day without new measures. Well, we had 3,000 a day last January. So is that not scaremongering? 3,000 a day? Yeah, we did it in January. So we've been in this position before. Just wondering if you could do a Man United Football Manager career mode at some point, says Ewan Murray. I'd happily do another FIFA career mode as Manchester United. I don't like Football Manager unless you're starting off as a lower level club. I don't like doing Football Manager as a Premier League club. Yellow card to Leeds. Always going to get ill discipline when things are not going well. Connor says, remember we were linked with Gabriel, solid defender, would have took him at United. Yeah, I said it at the time. Seen James Milner comment on Twitter. Liverpool player, says WN. I'll have a quick look. Yeah, I like Gabriel. I mean, I think, you know, you should. I think it's always very difficult to call a player a flop after 1 year because there's so many. Like Fabinho in his first year at Liverpool didn't set the world on fire. So James Milner, tough away trip in difficult times, but we keep pushing. I don't know what it's all about. All right, people are saying he's. Well, I don't know what he's on about there because it's got pictures of him in the game that they won last time. Is he having I think he's just having a laugh. So, I mean, Arsenal, I mean, look, it's very difficult to do this, what I'm about to say. James Milner already tweeted about tomorrow's loss, and we should sign, that was from and we should sign either Saka or Smith Rowe. That is what Fergie would do, says Francis. Not from Arsenal, he wouldn't, mate. It'd be very difficult to get an Arsenal youngster. It's not really ever been done by United. Look, Arsenal are in the box seat at the moment. They've won. They've put themselves in a good position. They've played a couple of games when everyone else hasn't. Their next game is on Tuesday against Sunderland in the Carabao Cup. I mean, that might happen actually. You know, that might happen. I don't know whether Sunderland have got a COVID problem. That might happen, but their next game is Norwich away in the Premier League. You'd expect them to win that. Then they've got Wolves at home. I'd expect them to win that, and then they've got Man City. So it's not like there's games that Arsenal are looking to lose at the moment. They're looking very fluid. Zane's looking happy with his sticker. And Mark, have you ever played golf? Says Tom. No, I really haven't ever played golf, to be honest. Not that I don't like it. I just think it's a sport that you've got to play a lot of it, and I haven't got the time. I ain't got the time. I think Leeds will be all right when they get some players back. They won't go down, but they look like they're going to finish in the bottom half, definitely. Three minutes added on. I will be on the live in the United Stand. I'm going to set the stream up as soon as this is finished. Just wind up a few Arsenal fans with that tweet. I'd love to do more Formula 1 watch-alongs next season, Joseph. It just depends. They normally sometimes clash with football, and football will always come first. Do you think VAR has improved compared to last season, says C? I think it has, you know. I mean, there's so much more. I wish we were talking about VAR. There's so much other things to worry about at the moment, isn't there? But, I mean, I still think you're going to get bad decisions, but I still think it's I still think it's it's a little bit better than last year, which, yeah. I think we're more focusing on referees again, aren't we, and their inconsistency. I mean, even Mariner today, he books the Leeds lad for a tackle that's no worse than one Jacques has done a minute ago that he let go. That inconsistency is very frustrating. Yeah, I'll be back. I'm going to set it up. I don't know whether I'll quite be ready for 8 o'clock, but certainly 8:15 I'll be live on United Stand tonight. I'll make sure I'm live at 8:15 as well. None of this later than 20 past 5 minutes. Odegaard, my man of the match tonight. Some of you might have missed it, but I thought he was absolutely fantastic, and I think well done to Arteta. Difficult week. I think some people in the media tried to use it as a reason to undermine him. Oh, you can't drop Aubameyang. Try. Basically, what the media did this week, certain people in the media, is they tried to throw Arteta under the bus for taking the captaincy off a player that had undermined him. Managers must be allowed to manage, and they tried to make Aubameyang bigger than Arteta. And a football club's got a massive problem when you're making a football player bigger than your manager. Arteta this week has done fantastically well and has proven that he's the right man to lead Arsenal at the moment. And anybody else who's going on about Aubameyang, you need to look at what's best for your club, because the manager's done the right thing. I think Brentford probably will stay up, Connor, although I did predict they'd go down. Anyway, thanks everyone for watching. I'll be live on the United Stand in about 45 minutes. Thank you everybody for watching. Take care. Great chats. Enjoyed the opinions and debates. And hopefully we're going to be back tomorrow for Liverpool against Spurs. Let's hope so, because every game at the moment feels like a bonus. Well done to Arsenal. Speak to you all in a bit.